got a lot to cover. I'm gonna do my best. Try to study Athaliah. That's what we're going to be studying. That's our bad girl, bad gal in the Bible. So I want you to think about two statements. Never enough power. Power tends to corrupt. So kind of think about those two things, okay? You're going to know why I'm asking you guys to think about that. So this is the person we're going to talk about right here. Okay. So right now, let me expand a little bit what I got here. The orange is the bad people. Okay. The black is godly people. Okay. And then the brown numbers is when they were kings in the Judah and in Israel. And then the black numbers is when they were kings, at the time they were kings. So let me tell you guys a little bit about who and where the characters played in. So Athaliah, who never found enough power to satisfy her rudeness, desire. In many ways, she was the most despicable of these characters that we are studying this series. Real bad lady. Well, that may make her different to identify. It's kind of hard to tell you about her because just of what she did and how we can feel in life now of what she did back then. When it comes down to let's get down to the root cause of her wickedness. And we may find there is something in her and each of us struggling to some extent. So that's what we're going to be talking about her. So Athaliah was the daughter of Ahab and Jezebel. You can see these are her parents. Who can tell me about Jezebel? Why was she a bad person? A wicked person. What did she do? We studied it.
Went to the people go to Baal to worship.
Yeah, that's Baal. We're going to be talking about Baal too. This is who they worship. Okay, and we worship God. Okay, you guys remember? I got here. She's the one that killed all the apostles, the Lord apostles.
The prophets.
Yeah.
Prophets.
Prophets. So she went there and killed all the prophets when they got married. So you know she's a bad person. So you know that's her daughter. So you know where we're going with this, okay? Okay. So Athaliah was also the mother of Achaziah, right here. That's her son, okay? And then she also married Jehoram. Is Jehoram. So remember, this is Judah and this is Israel, okay? This is the north, okay? So you can see right here already, here's the line right here. We got some bad people over there in Judah. So then Judah, that's what I'm saying. When Dewey was teaching our class, I was telling him, dude, I don't know what you're talking about, man. I was lost, you know. So I studied. So I might end up saying this guy. So Jehoram, his father, you can see who his fathers were. And those two guys, Jehoshaphat.
Remember that?
So, yeah, Jehoshaphat Ahaz were his grandfathers, and they were good, faithful men to God. But this guy, Jehoshaphat, Jehoram, soon as he passed away, he took over. Okay, and he didn't like God's way. He was more over here with this, with Israel. So kind of remember that. And when he took range, I'm going to do this. So when he took range, what he did, he turned around and killed all his siblings. He killed them all. And all these over here were loyal to God. His brothers, his family was loyal to God. But he wanted to secure his position. He wanted to make sure that there was nobody else that could take the king's position from him. So just kind of think about it. What a supportive family. Supportive family. Just because we have to think about, do we support our family? Through thick, through thin, through blood in, blood out. Do we support our own siblings? Take it a step forward. Do we support our brothers and sisters in Christ? Because they were in Christ too, with our Lord. So again, he just went ahead and took over. So you got to look at the time for him. So I'll come back to the times here. Okay. So we go back to Jehoshaphat. When he was a ruler, he was a wise man, and he also was a good ruler. So let me see here. Cyrus, can you read 2 Chronicles 17, 3 and 4? Please.
The Lord was with Jehoshaphat because he followed the example of his father's early years and did not worship the images of Baal. He sought his father's God and obeyed his commands instead of following the evil practices of the kingdom of Israel.
Okay. So here I says, as good as a king as he was, however, he made some decisions towards the end of his reign that was not so good. One which was terrible consequences. See how I put a T right there? It's orange. Little bit of bad decision. Okay, made a small little but. So yeah, you didn't catch that.
But yeah, I was trying to figure it out.
Yeah. So
they must have ran out of black.
So Jehoshaphat, almost closing down of his reign of Jerusalem, he attempted to establish a lasting peace place for the relationship of Judah and Israel. He attempted to partner up with now you look at the years 873 to 845, 874 to 853. So these two were getting together. Well, he was trying to get together with him. Okay. And what they were attempting to do, they were attempting to partner up with the king of Israel and to construct a fleet of trading ships. Only to see that God destroyed the ships before they even sailed. So that God was not agreeing with that plan. So David, can you read 2 Chronicles 20, 35 to 37, please?
20, 35, 37?
35 to 37, yes.
It says, later Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, made an alliance with Achaziah, king of Israel, who was guilty of wickedness He agreed with him to construct a fleet of trading ships. After this was built, and Ahason, Gilbert, Elisar, son of Dados, of Messiah, prophesied against Jehoshaphat, saying, because you have made an alliance with Achaziah, the Lord will destroy what you have made, and the ships will wreck when I was able to set sail to trade.
Thank you. So you see, God God didn't want nothing to do with that. He goes, but however, he was arranging a wedding between Jehoram and the princes of the royal family in Israel. So now, what he was trying to do, Jehoshaphat, to get his son to marry their daughter. And there she is. So now she's coming into the picture. Okay? Arrangement between Jehoram and the princes of the royal family of Israel. You know, so you would think, putting those two together, and again, think about Jehoshaphat. He wanted to make a good thing. He felt that if he brought her in to his side of the family, that she could become a good person, because look what you have here, So that was his intention, to bring her to prosper, actually. Let me see here. So I have Jehoshaphat was hoping to bring Athaliah to Jerusalem as a wife to his son, would influence her for good. He was terribly wrong. Instead, she was too much like her mother. In some sense, it has been said that Athaliah was her mother's twice over, so double worse than she was. Then from Chronicles, 2 Chronicles 21, 4-6, it says, when Jehoshaphat established his reign over his father's kingdom, he put all his brothers to the sword and some officials in Israel. Jehoram was about 32 years old when he became king, and he reigned over Jerusalem for about 8 years. He followed the ways of the kings of Israel, and the house of Ahab. There you go. Thank you. Ahab had done. For his marriage, his daughter of Ahab, he did evil in the Lord's eyes. So there's this Jehoram, who reigned over Jerusalem for 8 years, but it was personally controlled by who? Who do you think was controlling at that time? Who? So he married her. She was in control, and who's her mom? Okay. So those two basically was telling him what to do, because she was telling him always what to do. She was telling him what to do. She was telling him what to do. So she was a very evil person right here. And she's the one that brought this around. Okay. His wife and her mother during the times. But the Lord arose against Jehovah. I can say the names over and over and I can still forget. This guy. Jehoram. Yeah, Jehoram. The haters of the Philistines and the Arabs. So now they came to attack him. Okay. They attacked Judah, invaded it, and carried out all of the good found in the king's palace. together with his sons and wives. Not one son was left except Ahaziah. Ahaziah. So now they came and took over them, right? So now these guys were killed. All of them. All his brothers. So those two that had their siblings, they were all killed. So there's a lot of killing going on. He killed his brothers, and then the Philistines and Arabs killed Jehoram's kids. Okay? All right. Yeah. So yeah, so it left him, his youngest son. This is his youngest son. So honestly, God, again, you got to remember God's in play in all this. Okay. This is finally God afflicted a uncurable disease on him. And I think it was something to do with, that's what it was?
Yeah.
And it was curable. Okay. Sad part about it is his reign was so bad when he died, no one mourned for his loss. You got to remember, he was a king, you know. So there's a lot of people that knew him, you know. But again, you know, talking about those two things I told you in the beginning about power. He wanted power so bad that he didn't care how he was going to get power. But he died as a lonely man. All right, here's help me out again, Cyrus. You want to read 2 Chronicles 22, 1 through 3?
Yeah.
2 Chronicles 22, yeah.
This is the reign of Achaziah. Then the people of Jerusalem made Ahaziah, Jehoram's youngest son, their next king. Since the marauding bands who came with the Arabs had killed all the older sons, so Ahaziah, son of Jehoram, reigned as king of Judah. Ahaziah was 22 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 1 year. His mother was Athaliah, a granddaughter of King Omri. Ahaziah also followed the evil example of King Ahab's family, for his mother encouraged him in doing wrong.
And I have wicked. Again, I mean, wicked. So now we're here now. So he's king now. Okay? And he reigned for a year. I think it was, yeah. It was 841 BC. So I've got here Athaliah, just as her mother Jezebel had been for, just like she was with him, was truly the power behind his throne. She influenced her husband, she influenced her son down a wicked road. Okay. So then the unthinkable happened for the unthinkable happened for Athaliah. She lost, her husband was gone, her son is gone now, have died after 8 years on the throne. And here, let me see here. And then 2 Chronicles 22, 6 through 9. Then Ahaziah, the son of Jehoram, the king of Judah, went down to Jezreel to see Horam, the son of Ahab, because he had been wounded. Through Ahaziah's visit to Joram, God brought about Ahaziah downfall. Ahaziah arrived. He went out to Joram. So he's talking about he's visiting him. Okay, because he was wounded, so he came over here. Trying to keep you guys with me here. To meet with him. Then Jehu, the son of Nashi, whom the Lord have anointed to destroy the house of Ahab. Okay. So again, God's in play. You know, God's making things happen here to destroy the house of Ahab. While Jehu was judged the judgment of the house of Ahab, he found the officials of Jerusalem and the sons of Ahaziah, relatives who had been attending, and he killed them. So again, that's what I said, that they were killed here. And then it says here, he went into scare of Ahaziah and his men captured while they were hiding at Syria. But he brought so they came in, Jehu, and he was killed. Okay, and he was killed. So both of those got killed. Okay. So now this guy died earlier. Let's see here. Yeah, and they were put to death. So now, so you would think that Athaliah had lost everything, her status, her influence, her position of importance. But remember, she is just not a woman. She is Jezebel's daughter. And she has the habits of Jezebel's ruthlessness. Okay. So now, at this time, then, there was no one in the house of. I took him off already. Shouldn't have took him off. Ahaziah. Because you figure, you guys remember, how old was he? He was like 22 years old, right? So that's pretty young. Okay, so there's not a lot of power in this family, because look what happened here. They're all gone. So there's a lot of just nobody to take over, nobody to take a range over that side. So lose my spot here. There's no one in the house, okay, powerful enough to retreat the kingdom. All of his family, Jehoram's sons, have been killed, except the son that was killed. Okay, and he died at a young age of 20 or 23 years old. Okay, this vacuum of leaders left the door wide open for who?
Over there.
Yes. You know, and she jumped at the opportunity. So here she is here. It says, when Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, dry mouth over here, saw that his son died, here we go, she proceeded to destroy the royal family of the house of Judah. Athaliah ruled the land for 6 years. Let's not miss the scripture of what she did. She grabbed the power. She intended to destroy what was left of the family. Remember, Ahaziah had been the only son left to her, and Jehoram, he was the youngest when he died. at the death of children. So now she took over the throne, but remember, she literally killed the family, this family over here, anybody that was in the line of the royal, even to her grandkids. That's why this lady is more evil than this lady. She actually killed her grandkids. You know, so all these brothers here that were killed probably had family, the little ones, because just the wives and the husbands got killed here. So she destroyed them all. She killed all of them except one. Okay, here's where it gets interesting. If it hasn't been interesting, if I've lost you guys, I'm sorry, but I was lost for about a week. So, I'm studying with David every day about this, and he just laughed at me. So, that's my brother. I love him. So then, what happened now with Athaliah being on this side? Guess who she wanted to bring over to this side? Baal. Okay. So now we got to remember what she did could have destroyed the line of David to Jesus. So we got to remember this right here was so important that God was involved in this right here. That you know, he made things happen. You know, he was destroying on both sides because he had to, because they came to his side, to Judah. So you got to remember that. So introduce Baal worship, and she actually built a temple over here so they could worship Baal. And she ignored and actually took stuff out of the temple of Judah to put in her temple. It's pretty bad. Okay, during this time, just as a mother had in Israel, starting here. So now here's some new names. Drink the water, sorry. So now let me see here. Sorry, you want to read 2 Chronicles 22, 11. I think it's 11. Just keep on reading. I didn't put my little number down here, so I missed it.
But Ahaziah's sister, Jehosheba, the daughter of King Jehoram, took Ahaziah's infant son, Joash, and stole him away from amongst the rest of the king's children, who were about to be killed. She put Joash and his nurse in a bedroom. In this way, Jehosheba, wife of Jehodiah, the priest and sister of Ahaziah, hid the child so that Athaliah could not murder him. Joash remained hidden in the temple of God for 6 years while Athaliah ruled over the land.
Thank you. Okay. So did you guys get that? Yeah. Okay. So here we go. So here he is, right? He had 2 wives. We don't know what her name was. Okay. These were his 2 wives. So they had a daughter. That's her. She took her nephew, Joash, and hid him. Okay. That's when this happened. I couldn't put it together until I had to draw it out and keep on reading. But she hid him. He was 1 year old when this went down, when she killed everything. Because you can see her. She's the king/queen. Okay? So he was hidden for 6 years. Okay? So, how do you say that? Jehodiah is a priest. Okay? So he's a priest married to her. Okay? The line. So you see the line there. So she hid him for 6 years So then, after he turned 7 years old, they brought him out. They brought him out to celebrate, actually. Let me see here. I wanted to read what he's talking about. But basically what happened here was his wife got with the guards, because you got to remember, she was the king, you know. So who's going to go against the king? You know, his guards go, you know. But the priest and his wife talked to the guards to surround the temple. And they placed him on the throne. 7 years old, guys. And he was king. Because he was rightfully the line that he should have been. Okay? So they were having a party there. They were cheering, they were screaming. Trying to find the part here. So then she heard it. She heard what was going on. You know, she goes, "What's going on over there, man?" I mean, they were cheering. They were blowing trumpets. You know, because they had a king. They had a new king. So why would you think that the people was really enjoying and cheering for their new king?
She's evil.
Okay.
They bloodline.
Yep, they wanted her out. You know, the people wanted her out. You know, because she did some evil things. You know, and again, Cyrus was saying is the bloodline. You know, again, God played into this, and then she came over there and said what was going on, and she started screaming and yelling, saying treason, because treason. You know, because she was the king. You know, but what did she do? She killed the royal family. I mean, she killed her grandkids. So the soldiers arrested her in the temple. They arrested her, but they took her out of the temple and went to the stables where they keep horses and all the animals. And what do you think they did to her?
Slander.
Exactly. They killed her. They took her out of it. So then he became the king. But yeah, so that's, hope you guys how this family, how she was so evil of killing her grandkids. So again, the question that I asked you earlier about power. Never having enough power, guys. Kind of plays into your job, you know, step on anybody that I can step on to move up, you know. But again, never having enough, you know. And then power, you know, tends to, you know, create you to be, you know, just, yeah, just don't, you know, it's my way or the highway kind of a thing, you know. And we don't want to be like that, guys. And we got to remember what I got out of this being family, and we're all family. What I got out of it is, and it was, that's how God works. When Santiago brought the little one up, we're examples for our kids, you know, because what's that saying? The apple don't fall from the tree. Okay. So we've got to remember that, you know, our examples to our kids is very important, you know, and to bring them into to God. But always remember, God's always there for you. He always has the answer for you. But you have the choice. But he has the answer. And look, we talk about the little baby. He was 1 year old when they hit him. And then 7 years old. Just think, you know, if it was now, you know, we have a president that's 7 years old. You know? Candy for everybody. Ice creams every Saturday. You know? But again, maybe I like that too. I like that too. But again, any questions on this?
I think that's an example still of our politics right now. You know, how much power presidents want, and you know, everybody's selfish and they want more control. And look what happened on January 6th. Everybody was going by the main man was saying.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of this right here. Boom, just getting rid of him. Taking his family out.
Jesus came out of all this mess.
Yes.
That was God's whole plan. So I'm not gonna kill, I'm not gonna end your bloodline, or you know, God was.
Yeah, because you know.
So David.
Yeah, you know. I want to say I don't think they had a good king over there. I don't think so. I don't think so. And what's going to happen when this one came over here, you know, because there were a couple bad kings on this side, you know, but God had them in control, you know. But this right here, what she did, man, she almost got away with it. Almost got, but God already had the plan. But
And his parents, I'm just saying, not his parents, okay. They were gonna kill the 1 year old that, you know, they hid him. But while they were hiding him, they were teaching him everything that.
exactly, because you remember, he was a priest.
Right?
Yeah, he was a priest. And when I started reading it, you know, because I was like, who was he? Where did he come from? I kept on asking for like 4 days, trying to figure out where this kid came from. Because it said he killed him, but there was one. Then it said stepsister. Well, the half sister, yeah. So right here, he had 2 marriages. So the kids were half, you know. That threw me up for a loop, you know. But yeah, you're right. They hit him, and the thing was, the other thing. I'm glad you brought that up, because I wanted to say they kept him in the temple. You think she was going to go to the temple of God? She had her own. She never. So close, but yet so far. There's the temple of God's right there, and her temple's over here, and they have him there. Because she was never going to go into the Lord's house, you know. So.
I was going to say something before we leave.
Yes, sir.
On all of this, Athaliah, when she came into power, and she was not in the line of David, the devil was working, because he was if he would have succeeded, he would have thought Jesus was coming to being born out of the tribe of Judah. So the devil was at work, but God was always one step ahead of him.
But tell them what you told me, because it makes a lot of sense, because the devil was involved right here. And what other times that the devil was involved?
Well, the Garden of Eden. And then it was promised Genesis 3:15 that somebody will come, that Jesus Christ will come and crush the serpent. Okay, then Moses, in the time of Moses, they were killing all the babies. Satan was trying to stop Moses from getting God's people out of Egypt. Yep. Then when Jesus was born, the babies were getting killed again, because Satan was trying to stop Jesus from being born. So then Jesus, in his temptation, he was still there. So Satan plays a part.
And just all those examples were all babies. Killing babies. You know, it's bad, you know. It's real bad. Well, gang, thank you so much. I appreciate you all.
Thank you. And the next one is going to be the last one. Is going to be number 16. There's Korah, Dathan, and Abram.